It all started with fires Dwight and Stephen Hammond admitted setting on their own ranch land, which they claimed accidentally crossed onto federal land. But a jury convicted them of arson, and the father and son were sentenced to 5 years. When they went to prison, little did anyone know that the cases of these two men, who were opposed to the U.S. government controlling grazing land, would become a rallying call for some.
The Hammonds have turned themselves in. It's time for you to leave our community.
In 2016, the plight of the imprisoned father and son attracted the attention of a group with a political agenda. Armed men who saw themselves as defenders of rural landowners abused by federal government overreach broke into the offices of an Oregon National Wildlife Refuge.
Because we have allowed our federal government to step outside the bounds of the Constitution, they have come down upon the people and are prosecuting them now directly.
The armed protesters faced off with police for nearly 6 weeks, ending in one protester's death. Meanwhile, the father and son who inspired the standoff remained in prison until now. On Tuesday, President Trump granted the men full pardons. A statement from the White House press secretary reads, "The Hammonds are devoted family men, respected contributors to their local community, and have widespread support from their neighbors, local law enforcement, and farmers and ranchers across the West." The presidential pardon, though, has sparked concern and may embolden more protesters to take up arms.
They're looking for another opportunity to take over public land or have a showdown with law enforcement agents, and this will only embolden them. I do fear that it's just a matter of time before we see another standoff.
There's also the question of a pattern to Trump's pardons. Most of the 8 people who've received pardons are figures popular with Trump's base. They include a conservative writer convicted of campaign finance fraud, a sheriff who racially profiled suspected illegal immigrants, and a former vice presidential chief of staff convicted of obstruction of justice. The father and son ranchers now join the fold, with the right wing applauding another win delivered by Trump. Heidi, Zhou-Castro, Al Jazeera, Washington.